Imagine this. You're sitting across from her at a cafe, the same girl who once giggled at your texts. Lit up when you walked in the room, reached for your hand first, now she's distracted. She barely looks up from her phone. You crack a joke. Nothing. You ask about her day. A nod. Her attention. Gone. And somewhere deep in your gut, you wonder, did I do something wrong? You were being yourself. Honest. Open. Consistent. The good guy. Isn't that supposed to be enough? That question has killed more attraction than any line you could say. What did I do wrong? As if the problem is in your kindness, your truth, your effort. But it's not that simple. Because the truth is, being yourself is not attractive if yourself is uncentered, emotionally needy, or expecting love in return for effort. And that's where most men fall, not because they're weak, but because no one told them what women actually respond to. You grew up thinking consistency equals reward, that sincerity earns affection, that just being real is romantic. But attraction, it doesn't care about any of that. Attraction is not fair, it's primal, it's subconscious, and it punishes men who confuse emotional availability with power. Here's what most men don't realize: she doesn't want your full heart up front. Not if she hasn't earned it. Not if she doesn't feel a little uncertain about her own feelings yet. But most guys, the moment they feel interest, they give everything. They reveal too much, compliment too often, text too long, plan ahead too far. They start pre-living the relationship in their heads while she's still deciding if she even likes you. That imbalance, she can feel it. And it's repellent. Let me give you an example. There's a guy named Eric. Average looks, but kind, smart, emotionally open. He meets a girl at a friend's birthday. They talk for an hour. She smiles, gives her number. He feels the rush, that rare sense of connection. So he leans in, hard, texts good morning and good night. Offers to drive her to work, cancels plans to make himself available. She doesn't ask for it, but he does it anyway, because he wants to show her he's not like other guys, that he's safe, that he means well. She doesn't text back as quickly. Her responses get shorter. The jokes that once made her laugh now feel awkward. And then she ghosts. Eric sits alone, staring at his phone, thinking, wasn't I being genuine? Didn't I treat her right? Why does this keep happening? It happens because he gave her the prize without making her feel the value of it. In her mind, he didn't earn her desire, he handed it over like a business card. And biologically, psychologically, that triggers her to pull away. She doesn't even know why, but you and I do. Women don't fall for what's available. They fall for what's valuable. And value is never proven through effort alone. It's revealed through emotional tension. You think she wants your openness, but what actually makes her feel drawn to you is your restraint. If you want her to be curious, to lean in, to feel something spark in her body when she thinks of you, you can't just show up and be nice. You have to hold back just enough that she starts to invest. Because when a woman invests, even just a little, she attaches. And when she attaches, she starts asking herself why. That question is the seed of desire. But most men kill that seed before it even grows. They smother it with compliments, over-explain their intentions, try to convince her with words instead of letting silence do the work. Let's be brutally clear. You don't get points for honesty if your honesty feels like emotional debt. You don't get credit for effort if your effort smells like desperation. And you certainly don't become more attractive by being predictable, always available, or too easy to read. That's not authenticity. That's self-abandonment in disguise. So here's your first tactic. The next time you meet someone and feel that pull, don't lean in. Don't rush to impress. Don't give her your emotional resume. Instead, sit back, observe, let the silence test her curiosity, let her reach a little, ask a question, initiate a moment. If she doesn't, she's not interested. And if she does now, you have the power to respond. That's how attraction begins, not when you give, but when you withhold with purpose. Have you ever done this and didn't realize it pushed her away? Tell me what happened. What's the hardest part about holding back your emotions when you're into someone? Which mistake did you recognize in yourself already? Be honest in the comments. Now, let's go deeper. Because here's where most men stumble. They understand the idea of restraint. They've heard about playing it cool, but they misunderstand why it works. So they fake it. They wait longer to reply, but still obsess over her response. They hold back compliments, but still crave validation. And women feel the disconnect. They feel that it's not real calm, it's disguised anxiety. True restraint is not silence with a clenched jaw. It's silence without fear. It's not pretending not to care. It's actually being okay if she walks away. That's the part no one teaches you, because real self-worth is not performative, it's embodied. And until you get that, every tactic you try will backfire. She will always detect your need beneath your words, and she will run. You think you're being attractive when you say, "I just really like you." 2 dates in, you think it's romantic to say, "I've never felt this way before." But to her, especially early on, that doesn't sound exciting. It sounds risky. It sounds like pressure, like emotional weight she didn't ask for. And if she hasn't felt that spark yet, she starts to recoil. Not because you're a bad guy, but because your presence feels too heavy. You're not giving her a chance to miss you, to wonder, to yearn. And here's the twisted psychology of attraction. What a woman wonders about you will always turn her on more than what she knows about you. Mystery is not about hiding things. It's about controlling the flow of information, about timing. Think about it like this. A man who is emotionally available on his own terms is magnetic. He gives nothing to prove himself, but everything when it matters. He doesn't offer attention to be chosen. He offers it as a reward. His presence becomes a place of calm polarity. He's connected, but never dependent. That's what she craves, even if she can't articulate it. Let me give you a story. There's a guy named Malik. He met a girl at a networking event. Confident, elegant, the kind of woman who gets constant attention. They exchanged numbers. Instead of texting her a novel that night, Malik waited. 2 days later, he sent a message. "Let's get a drink, Thursday or Friday." No emoji, no compliment, no overthinking, just an offer. She responded within minutes. They met. She expected flattery, games, overcompensation, but he simply listened, asked thoughtful questions, looked her in the eye. When she mentioned her ex, he didn't flinch or ask about it. He changed the subject. When she leaned in emotionally, he received it, but never reacted to it. And when the night ended, he kissed her forehead and said, "You're interesting. Let's do this again." She went home confused. Why was he so calm? Why didn't he chase? Why did she feel the pull? That's the power of masculine restraint. Malik didn't perform. He possessed. You don't have to be cold. You don't have to be mean. But you do have to stop trying. Attraction dies in the space where a man tries to convince, because a woman doesn't want to be convinced. She wants to be moved, and she is only moved by a man who doesn't need to be received. A man who, even if she rejected him, would still stand up straight, breathe deep, and walk away without resentment. That's the paradox of power in dating. You don't become magnetic by being emotionally available. You become magnetic by being emotionally self-sufficient. So here's your second tactic. When you text her, do it with purpose, not to get a reaction. Stop over-explaining. Drop the nervous energy. No, sorry, I was busy. No, just making sure. Just say what you want, then step back. If she's interested, she'll respond. If not, you don't follow up. That silence will tell you everything. The mature man doesn't chase, he calibrates. He reads energy. He moves accordingly. He doesn't punish or beg. He observes and decides. Your worth is not in how much you feel. It's in how you carry what you feel. The world tells you women want softness, sensitivity, openness. And they do, but only if it's rooted in strength. If your emotion is ungrounded, she'll drown in it. If it's controlled, she'll crave it. Have you ever tried to play it cool but still felt anxiety underneath? How did it turn out? What's one moment you chased her attention when you knew you should have pulled back? When was the last time you sent a message just to test if she still cared? Share it below. Now let's talk about the most dangerous illusion of all, the belief that consistency creates desire. It sounds good on paper. It feels morally right. It's what your mom told you growing up. Be consistent, be patient, be dependable, and she'll see your worth. Right. No, she won't. Because consistency, when offered too early, too freely, and without tension, does not build value. It kills mystery. It doesn't create comfort. It triggers emotional laziness. If she knows exactly how you'll respond, if she can predict your every move, if she feels no suspense in your presence, she stops feeling. That's the quiet tragedy. Not because she's evil, not because you're boring, but because human attraction is biologically wired for contrast, not comfort. A woman doesn't fall for a man because he's always available. She falls for the man who knows when to disappear. She doesn't ache for the guy who texts back instantly. She aches for the one who responds on his own time, without apology, because he's not living for her notifications. That's not a game. That's polarity. Masculine energy creates space. Feminine energy fills it. But if you collapse into her rhythm, she stops dancing. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. Let me show you. A guy named Daniel falls in love with a girl he's been seeing for 2 weeks. They've had amazing conversations, deep eye contact, shared secrets at 1 a.m. One night, she tells him, "I've never opened up like this before." He believes it's real, so he starts texting more, planning trips, introducing her to his friends. He thinks this is momentum. He's just being himself. But slowly, she starts pulling back. Her replies get delayed. Her tone changes. When he asks if something's wrong, she says, "Nothing's wrong. I've just been busy." He tries harder, sends flowers, says, "I'm here if you need anything," offers to help with her work stress. She ghosts him, and Daniel is left broken, asking the question every good guy eventually asks: what else could I have done? But the real question is, why did I give so much before she truly chose me? Because she never did. She never committed. She was exploring. She was testing the water, and instead of letting her discover her own feelings, Daniel filled the space too fast. He robbed her of the slow burn, and she lost the spark. That's the emotional trap. You believe that being good earns you love, but goodness without boundaries becomes invisible. Warmth without distance becomes dull. If you're always reachable, always affirming, always emotionally exposed, you become emotionally flat. She can read you in one sitting, and once she can read you, she closes the book. You were taught that effort equals reward, but in modern dating, effort without mystery is ignored. Women don't leave you because you're not enough. They leave because they never had time to miss you. So here's your next strategy. Stop rushing to confirm the connection. Sit with uncertainty. Let her make the next move sometimes. Don't say good morning every day. Don't ask if she's okay every time she sounds off. Let her wonder. Let her miss the version of you that isn't always there. If she pulls away slightly, don't fill the gap with more attention. Watch. Wait. Mirror. If she wants you, she'll return. If she doesn't, she wasn't yours to begin with. The moment you start pursuing harder when she invests less, you've already lost the dynamic. Let her earn your softness. Let her earn your time. Let her prove her interest by effort, not words. That's not cruelty. That's respect. For her and for yourself. And yes, it feels unnatural at first. You were taught to fix things, to reassure, to show you care, but caring too soon is a form of control. You're trying to manage her perception of you rather than allowing reality to unfold. That's not love. That's emotional micromanagement. The men who are truly attractive, the ones she thinks about when no one's watching, are not the ones who give the most. They're the ones who leave space for her to feel the absence. Because absence creates value, and presence, when given in small doses, becomes powerful. Have you ever chased someone who was already slipping away? What happened? When was the last time you overgave before she ever proved her interest? What's the one thing you regret saying or doing too early? Let it out below. Let's strip it down to the core now, because here's where most men break without even knowing it. They make attraction a moral issue. You tell yourself, if I treat her right, she'll value me. If I show her I'm loyal, she'll choose me. If I'm honest, vulnerable, attentive, she'll love me. But attraction doesn't operate on fairness. It operates on emotional tension. She doesn't fall for the man who follows the rules. She falls for the man who awakens something inside her she can't control. You're not trying to convince her you're worthy. You're supposed to remind her of the ache she's been waiting to feel. And here's the part no one tells you: the more you try to win her approval, the more you disconnect from your own masculine power. Because chasing approval is submission. It signals one thing, loud and clear: I will mold myself for you. And in that moment, she stops feeling safe because you've shown her you're not grounded. You're dependent. The most quietly powerful men are not the ones who shout. They're the ones who never need to explain themselves. You feel their presence because they're not seeking confirmation. They lead their lives with or without being chosen. That's what makes women obsess. Not gifts, not good morning texts. That. Let me give you the last story. His name is Leo. Lean build. Calm energy. Met a girl at his gym. She was used to being pursued, the kind of beauty who expects eyes on her the moment she walks in. But Leo never stared, never lingered. He greeted her like he greeted everyone else, briefly and with no intent. One day she approached him, started chatting. He smiled, talked, and then excused himself. Didn't ask for her number. A week later, she approached again. This time, she offered it. They went out. The date was easy. She opened up fast, laughed, tried to impress him. But Leo never overreacted. He never complimented her looks. He talked about ideas, purpose, let silence fill the spaces. And at the end of the night, he thanked her and walked away. She couldn't sleep, not because he negged her, not because he played a game, but because she couldn't figure him out. He wasn't indifferent, he was centered, emotionally calm, spiritually intact. Not a nice guy trying to be chosen, but a man already at peace with who he was. He made her feel something she hadn't felt in a long time: respect. Understand this, most women aren't starving for love. They're starving for depth, for polarity, for a man who knows how to stand still when she storms, who doesn't react to her emotional swings, who doesn't need her to reassure him, who doesn't shrink when she goes cold. That's what makes her lean in. Not because she's manipulated, but because she's magnetized. And you become that kind of man not by chasing tactics, but by disentangling your identity from her response. If she pulls away, You don't chase, you observe. If she tests you, you don't defend you. Smile. If she's hot one day and cold the next, you don't collapse. You continue your day unchanged. That's how you reclaim yourself. Not through punishment, not through control, but through emotional posture. You are not here to be loved by everyone. You are here to stand in your own rhythm and see who dances with it. So here's your final strategy. Stop managing her feelings. Start managing your focus. If you feel yourself overthinking, write it down. Don't send it. If you catch yourself texting to get her attention, pause. Ask, would I want her if she gave me this little in return? Replace overgiving with observation. Replace compliments with eye contact. Replace availability with selectivity. You don't need to become colder, you need to become clearer. Because once a man is emotionally clear, once he no longer waits to be chosen, once he stops making her response his identity, he becomes undeniable. And ironically, that's when she starts choosing him. Have you ever confused emotional giving with emotional power? What did it cost you? What's one small habit you know you need to break when it comes to texting or chasing? Have you ever seen her become more attracted the moment you stopped reacting? Share your story. She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.